All right. I started writing you a message, but I think it'd be a whole lot easier just to show it to you. This is such a frustrating piece of Divi ever since we've been um, using it. We run about 3,500 websites. About 600 or 800 of them are probably running Divi. We run across this all the time. We get a lot of complaints from customers, a lot of confusion from customers, and even my developers have problems with this. It takes us time to try to go and find out where you guys have these issues. And this is systemic across all websites with all different kinds of plugin settings. Some have one or two additional plugins. Some could have 30 or 40. It's not anything that is done with some other plugin causing the problem. We've even stripped out websites, created clones, had it dropped all the way down to all it was running was just Divi. The site's running pretty lean. It's only got about 4 or 5 plugins in there, nothing major. We've stripped out most of the CSS. We've just got some basic CSS running. But 30 years of programming, what you guys are doing is wrong. And I'm going to explain to you why. Before you can take offense to that, I'm going to explain to you why. I can't dictate how Divi or Elegant Themes wants to program their stuff, but you do need to follow some pretty basic programming procedures. That is, if you're going to set a default, such as adding a shadow to the text here, that's your business. I don't have a problem with that at all. You're going to start using defaults for fonts or colors, because we have problems with colors. We have problems with padding. If you're going to use defaults for those, that's totally fine. You're welcome to do that all day long. It's your software. However, if you're going to do that, you need to tell somebody. And what do I mean by that? So if you're going to set a heading shadow, I would expect to open up the module, go to the title section down here, click on the design tab, and come to this section here that says text title, title text. And I would expect that shadow to be representative in your grid here, and it is not. This says there's no shadow. This says there is a shadow. Based on your theory, if I select a shadow, and for the sake of this discussion, we'll just select a hard shadow. Let's go ahead and change the color of it real quick to red. Your theory says that if I set the shadow to something else and save it, and we'll just verify that, when I set it back based on your theory, so it's set to red, if I come back here and manually set it back, that shadow technically should be gone. And I'm telling you that it will not be. So I'm going to come down here to the text title, and I'm just going to select no shadow. And I'm going to hit save, save, update, come back over here and hit reload. Your shadow is still there. I can't turn that shadow off. And this is what upsets me the most about sending support tickets into Divi. Had somebody just actually tested this before they responded and said, oh, this is the way it's supposed to work, then you would have found out that it's not working the way you even think it's supposed to work. Because you clearly stated right here, it doesn't look like I can pull it up. Let me see if I can do it this way. It is the intended that the value the customizer used when there is no value set to the module. If you change the value in the module to 14 pixels by moving the slider range to get it back to 14, this value will be used. Okay, well, I assume that would work with everything, but I'm going to show you here in a minute. It doesn't even work with the 14 either. So as you saw, you can't turn that shadow off. And that's a problem because we don't want shadows. Shadows are tacky and we need it turned off. And that's our decision to make. I understand that you have the right to default to that, so be it. But let's just jump down here and look at this. So I'm going to come down here and look at the pricing table. Okay, as you can see here, I have 4 basic price columns set. Each one is exactly the same. The only difference is we changed the font size from 13, 14, 15, and 16 pixels. But as you notice, 14 and 16 are exactly the same. And 16 pixels is the default that we have set in the customizer. So you're automatically, when I roll this back to 14, you're automatically changing it to 16. I need it to be 14. The client wants it to be 14, but you've eliminated the ability for me to do that. Just like you've eliminated the ability for me to turn off the shadow up there. But let's just go and look at this. We'll follow your directions. So let's come back over here. Here's our basics. Just for the sake of discussion, let's just roll down here and take a look. So this one is set to 13. So that one's set to 13 pixels. And the rest is so on. So let's look at the 14. If I come down here and I follow your directions, so right now it's set to 14, which is your module default. Let's set it all the way up here to 25 so that we exaggerate to teach, because it seems like I have to teach you guys quite a bit here for whatever reason. Because if you notice, all this stuff that I'm doing right now is a total waste of my time because somebody didn't bother to go and check the support ticket that I put in. So as you can see, it's set to 25. Your theory states, where did it go? If I set my sites copy to 14, oh, it's below here. Okay, there's the module. It was at 14, but we moved it to a different range, and we even saved it, and we tested it. Now we're going to move it back to 14, and you said that this will be the value used. And I say hockey puck. It is not the value that will be used. So let's come back over here. Let's come over here. And let's set this back down to 14. Hit save. And if you noticed, when I hit 14, I did not use the arrows to get it back to default. Here, it did it on its own. So if I come back here and hit update, it's still going to be 16 pixels. Voila, 16 pixels. If we're doing something wrong, let us know. I understand that Divi is a pretty deep application, but defaults are defaults. And the quick fix here is if you're going to set a site default, fine. But you got to let the module know that that's what it's set to so that it can be changed to something else. So I've just showed you 2 examples of this, but I can also pull out several more. Another example widely used is buttons. Another example widely used is colors. They all have the same systemic problem. So now that I've gone through all the trouble of creating this video for you, I hope you understand what's going on, and I hope Divi has a way of fixing this. Thanks.